Hey everybody, welcome back to the Get Together podcast. I am Alyssa.
I'm Stacy.
And today we have a special episode for Valentine's Day. We have our husbands today. Yay! And it's probably going to be the most awkward and grouchy podcast we've done so far.
They've been pretty happy tonight.
I mean...
We ate.
We
ate.
ate.
We're full. We're good. We have pie.
Well, why don't you introduce yourself?
I'm Kenneth. I'm Alyssa's wife.
Husband.
He knows. He's being stupid.
Who are you?
I'm Brian. I'm... my name is Brian. I'm Stacy. I can't do it. Oh my gosh. Okay.
And you are, sir?
Brian.
Who are you?
I'm your husband. Do you remember me?
Here we are.
Oh my gosh. We're not off to a good start.
No. This is awkward.
Per the usual, we will probably have no rhyme or reason to this episode. We're just here to, we first called it like a date. We're calling it our little date episode. We wanted to have our husbands on, and then we figured why not do it for Valentine's Day. So here we are. We have had dinner. We now have pie and coffee.
Yeah.
And we're just living the dream.
Dinner was very good.
Thank you.
Thank you for
Appreciate
dinner.
that.
It was good.
Little pulled pork on a bun.
That was compliments of Kenneth. He told me to make that.
I didn't do anything.
I would have
And
let y'all
shut up.
starve.
And then Kenneth provided us with this awesome pie. What is this pie?
Yeah, give a little shout out. Maybe we'll get a sponsorship.
It is just
Is it-
chocolate cream pie.
No.
It's nothing fancy.
It is fancy.
All I know is I slaved over it.
While
Pulled it right
driving.
out of the freezer
Right out of
section.
the freezer. Yep.
So, this trio was the beginning trio,
That is true.
if that makes sense.
Kenneth, why don't you tell our viewers a little bit about that? Since you were so really in the moment back then.
In the moment?
In the moment.
Yeah, that was like your favorite thing about dating me, was that Stacy
Oh,
came
that was
along
my
too.
favorite part.
I was the third wheel. Or were you the third wheel?
I don't know. I never knew. All I knew is I paid for it.
I personally like whenever you would take us to the gym and you'd be like, do all these things.
That was my favorite. Working out with Kenneth is
That
my
was
favorite.
a long
Didn't we
time
go
ago.
like early in the morning?
Yep.
Or late at night. It was
Or
always
late at night,
dark
and then we went to Waffle House.
Yep, got chocolate milk.
because protein feed the muscles.
Yeah, and we're
logic.
like, this is what we do.
This is how it's
Chocolate
healthy.
milk after we work out.
Yep. Work out, go to Waffle House.
Need these carbs for energy for the next workout. But no, me and Stacy lived together back in the day that I met Kenneth. And so we were never apart. We lived together, worked
Ever.
together, all the stuff. And so Kenneth would come over and we'd be going on a date. And then he'd be like, well, we're not leaving Stacy home alone. So come on. And she was
It's like that
90,
new puppy dog.
90% of our dates.
It's kind of sad, actually.
It didn't seem sad back then.
I'll go. Help me, I'm poor.
It
I
wasn't.
don't have anyone else to hang out with.
It wasn't like that.
It really didn't
No,
feel that way. It was not a third wheel kind of weirdness. At least to me. I don't know.
We just always were hanging out.
Yeah.
I don't think it was ever like, oh, we're going on a date.
That's true, because we didn't have, like, dates where we, like, got fancy. It was just, like, we both got off work, come hang out at the apartment, let's go eat.
Those were good times. And then, when did y'all get married?
2011.
And then we got married in 2015.
15.
Yes.
And then that's when Brian entered the mix.
Whoa. I entered before we got married.
It was like, it was an arranged marriage.
Wait.
Are we talking about the marriage?
I entered the picture.
I'm gonna die.
He got married.
Wow.
Yes. We met in
there
2014.
Yeah. And then that was it. Wow.
Well, I guess, yeah, 2015, because Leona was a tiny baby at y'all's wedding with her little fuzzy chicken head.
You had just had her. Mm-hmm.
Because y'all got married in September?
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, she was just a few months old.
Three of the bridesmaids had just had babies.
I remember
You,
that.
Tamara,
Yeah.
and his sister.
That's right.
Yeah. Like back to back. And then I think your sister was the last one. Logan's the youngest of the three kids.
Tell me how you guys met.
I feel like I've already told this story.
To this podcast, though?
Your candle's leaking.
It's called wax. Stacey.
Yeah, we want to hear it from Brian's angle.
Oh my.
I do. Y'all are the guests, so y'all have to talk more today. I'm going to eat my pie.
I have a tendency to ramble, so
I love it.
We
I'm
can
trying
cut it
not
out.
to ramble. Maybe ask questions, then I'll try to answer.
Okay,
questions.
where did y'all meet first?
We met at a wedding. Actually, it was a wedding that I was going to as a guest, and Stacy was shooting the wedding, photographing it.
Photographizing
She was She was photographizing the wedding. She was taking pictures, and yeah. So she should probably tell the part about how we met at the wedding.
Yeah, give me the
Well,
nitty gritty.
okay,
I
so-
feel like you do a better job of it.
So I had a friend who
'Cause
actually...
I'll go like way deep.
I had a friend who was trying to hook us up on my end. You had no idea about me, right?
I did not know you existed. I only knew your
And-
dad and your brother.
She told me, "Hey, there's this guy. I think y'all would be cute together." And I was like, "No, thanks." And then I was shooting the wedding. I was working. I kind of forgot you were going to be there. And then you walked in the door and I was like, "Okay, you can introduce us."
Yeah, the funny thing
then-
is earlier that night, well, it was a mutual friend, so it turns out they had apparently talked to you, but I was at the reception before I met you. They were asking me, like, so when are you going to start dating? And when are you going to do this? And I'd gone through a divorce and have two daughters from the previous marriage. And so I was just kind of content to live my life, serve the Lord, raise my girls, work, and that was it. I was happy. But they were asking me, when are you going to start dating again? And it was just that very night, and I was kind of like, I don't know. But so then the wedding party was, I guess, taking pictures outside or something. And we were headed outside. Everybody was going to go watch them pose, I guess. I don't know. Were they doing a dance? I don't remember. They were going out to this gazebo.
Oh, we had
Anyways,
just done
I guess
the
it
first
doesn't
dance.
matter. It doesn't matter.
When
See
was
what I
the-
mean? I'll start going, and I think we ate. Did we eat chicken? I don't remember. But
I was
anyways,
coming back
as
in.
we were walking out, we were on the steps, like some steps outside, and that mutual friend was like, "Hey, I want you to meet Stacy," and so I'm just kind of like, "Hey, nice to," but whenever I turned and met you, it was something that I never really thought was a real deal. Like, I thought it was only like Hollywood movies, but it was kind of like, nice to meet.
Like on the Lego movie?
Yeah, I was like, what? Like, it was
in
the
her
weirdest thing. I've never experienced that ever in my life, and it felt like I was like, what is going on? This was like a little middle school crush or something. It was the craziest thing, but yeah. So then we
went to IHOP that night after the wedding with our friends, and
Yep.
then that was kind of it. I kind of just felt like
yeah, it was wild. I don't know.
I mean, there was a journey. We didn't start dating
yeah,
right away,
for sure.
and then that was it.
Maybe that's
Funny.
another podcast. I don't know, because there's a lot. Like, it's really a cool
it was
testimony.
I was gonna say it's funny from like an outsider's perspective because I remember the first time you told me about him, and I was like, "Hold on, like who is this guy?" Like I was, I guess, kind of protective because, I mean, we saw each other through some weird times,
Yeah.
you know, when we were living together, and so I was like, "Is this another so and so situation? Is this
Who's this weasel?
Yeah, who is this guy? Oh, he's been married before. Oh." I was very protective. But you guys were like, you were giddy. I remember
Yeah.
that. And I think that's why I was weird. I was like, you shouldn't like him this much right now.
Red flag.
Red flag. Watch it.
Yeah, it was just kind of. Honestly, it was a lot of it was definitely like the hand of the Lord on it, and you could feel it.
That's cool.
Didn't you tell me that Alyssa had a dream?
Oh yeah,
about,
didn't
like,
you have a dream?
Flannel
You're
shirted.
like, I had a dream about your husband.
Oh
Scruffy
my
guy.
And then when you met
gosh.
him, didn't he was like wearing a flannel and had a
I
beard?
forgot about that.
I
Yeah.
wore a lot of flannels then.
You did.
Look
I still
at
have
that.
those flannels. They just don't button.
I was gonna say, I think when I first met you, I never saw you without a flannel on.
Yeah,
I had,
you
I
wore a
had
lot of them.
flannels, or if it wasn't a flannel, it looked like a flannel.
Yes.
Yeah.
Man, I forgot about
skinny
that.
jeans.
That's crazy.
So what about you guys?
Yeah, Kenneth, how'd we meet?
Tell us, Kenneth.
Ours is not as
Romantic.
or Lord providing.
Yeah. Because I wasn't even thinking about the Lord back then.
I know the Lord.
I did not know that.
I did not. So I was living in San Antonio at the time, dating another girl.
You were in San Antonio?
Yeah. We were putting in security alarms and fire alarms in San Antonio and a bunch of junior colleges that they were building. And I came in because I had lost my contacts in a hotel or something like that. I left them, and that was the last ones I had anyways. I came in town for the eye doctor, and I was sitting there, and I saw Alyssa sitting there, and I'd just seen her probably a couple months before that at her cousin's Ranger graduation. And anyways, never didn't even talk to her. The only thing I said to her when we were at the Ranger graduation was, "Hey, if you can have some of these cheese fries or something like that, if you want some," because we were sitting there at a big table with a bunch of people, and I was like, "Hey, you can have some of these cheese fries if you want."
And that's what I knew.
And so, anyways,
take your cheese
Just kidding.
fries for the rest of my
I
life.
was not interested.
we were there in the eye doctor, and I walked up to her, and I just made conversation up, but she was on the phone, which I didn't know who she was on the phone with, but she ended up hanging up with him and talking to me for a little bit, and then we went our separate ways. I went back, and I was like, "Oh, I'll ask her for a number when I get back, when I get done with my eye exam." I walked in there, she wasn't there. I looked around, so I left. I don't know. I don't think it was that day. I think it was a couple days later. I was like, dang it, I should have got her a number.
I think.
Was it the
What's
same
her
day?
face texted me that
Oh,
day.
maybe it was. I can't. Her aunt. I asked her. I said, "Hey, I saw your niece at the eye doctor. Blah blah. I should have got her number, but I didn't." And like normally I'll do this. Normally I'll just ask for the number. But I was like, "Hey, text her," because I didn't have her number. I wasn't gonna be a creep and just get her number from her aunt. So I was like, "Hey, text her and see if she'll give me her number or whatever." Anyways, she did.
Well, Aunt Tina, she texted me and she was like,
Yeah. Weird.
Kenneth wants me to give you his phone number, and he said to call him or text him sometime or whatever. And I was like, doesn't he have a girlfriend? And she was like, well, kinda. And I was like, you can give him my number. And I was like, but I'm not texting this rando guy. But I guess backstory too, you were best friends with my cousin, and I had never met you until, like you said, that
Never.
Ranger graduation. And so that was love at the eye doctor, except not.
Yeah.
And then I think didn't y'all?
So I
You
was
started coming around.
well. I was still
yeah.
dating that other girl. Like I texted her, and she pretty much
Ooh, Kenneth.
shut me down and was like, "Hey, you have a girlfriend." So I didn't talk to her for like 3 to 6 months, something like that.
I think it was like 3 or 4.
yeah,
Okay.
because I went back to San Antonio after that. I was only there for the weekend, and then I went back. And anyways, I ended up breaking up with her. my girlfriend then.
Get this really smooth text message one day.
Super smooth. I was like, I'm single. What's up?
He didn't say that. He
It was something like that. I don't remember what it said.
He texted like, "Hey, how have you been doing?" And I was like, "Good. How about you?" And he was like, "Pretty good. Feels good to be single." And I was like, "Smooth."
But
And here we are.
I don't know. We text for a long time before I actually asked her on a date, or
I
we
think
actually
we text for like a month.
yeah
before
before
we
we
actually
even
did
Well, didn't you hang out a little bit with us before y'all were even like
He
dating?
came to my birthday.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I asked her on a date for the first time, and I ended up showing up like 30, 45 minutes late on her first date.
So the place that we were gonna go was closed.
Was Babes.
Yeah, we were gonna go to Babes because I had never been, and he was like, "Have you ever been? It's chicken. It's so good." And so we missed it. We ended up at the Red Lobster.
Yep.
That's
yeah.
a good trade.
Red Lobster.
Cheddar Bay biscuits.
Yep.
That's the funny thing about our relationship is like it's always been tied to terrible foods.
Food. Horrible food
Like
for you.
foods that you shouldn't like, but we secretly love and like have held them secret in our hearts. And then we're like, "Do you like this food?" And he's like, "Yeah." And I'm like, "Oh, he's the one."
Yeah.
I always tell people that's how we fell in love. We were driving one day. We were trying to figure out what to eat. And we're driving down the highway. And there's all these food places here on the left. And we pass an A&W / Long John Silver's. And he like looks at
Western
me
Center?
all sheepish. And he was like, "Do you like Red Lobster?" Or what is it called? Long John Silver's.
Long John
He's like, "Do you
Silver's."
like Long John Silver's?" And I looked back at him. I was like, "I do." And he literally was like, like turned the car so he could.
Because you gotta understand, I had a big old lifted Bronco, so I didn't give a crap. Like we literally whipped around to the main street and went back.
Like,
That
you're
was
not
a-
supposed to like Long John Silver's.
No.
It's gross.
Driving that truck is the reason why we were 45 minutes late. Or I was 45 minutes late because I didn't want her to think I was a dumb redneck, so I borrowed my mom's car. We swapped cars because I didn't want to show up with a big old lifted Bronco.
I love that Bronco.
Well, I didn't know that then. All I knew is you as a goody two shoes.
I'm not.
She would only
Not
like.
anymore, but you were.
So you guys were kind of like
I think you're stopped.
love at first sight.
Oh,
Y'all were kind of instant.
yeah, we had to work on ours.
A lot. I almost blew it. I almost ruined it.
It was a little on and off.
Yeah, and then I got conned in by Stacy.
What?
That is true.
I got conned into marrying
He
her by
blames
you,
the fact
or
that we're
getting back
married
with-
on you.
Yeah, I got conned back into dating her because of you.
Wasn't for me. Because of me.
So what
Yeah,
had happened
at the
was
movies.
we
You don't
had
remember
been
that?
broken up because I was being crazy. And then we
Crazy.
were hanging out again. But he had spent like the evening before with some other girl who wanted her shot with him. So she was like, "I can't believe you want to even talk to that girl." Like bad mouthing me. So he's got, Alyssa hate on his mind. But we all go to the movies and we're leaving. And you were like, "So are you guys back together?" And I just looked at him and I was like, "I don't know." And I was like, "Are we?" Because I was like, "I'm not making this call." Like,
It felt like the
I
biggest
broke his
setup
heart.
in the world.
So I swear to you, to this day,
Hey.
I did not know she was going to ask that.
It felt like as you
if it
set up, because I
helps or
remember
not.
sitting there, and I remember sitting in the car like, should I just be silent and drive like I didn't hear it? Because it felt like the biggest setup.
It was not. But I just asked. I was like, "Are we?" Because I don't know. And you were like, "I guess."
I
So
honestly
romantic.
don't remember asking.
I remember driving home, went to the apartment, and I just started drinking. I was like,
No,
what the
you
freak?
went and talked to that girl again.
Yeah, we went to her apartment.
Yeah.
We just sat there and drank. Because I was like, what the freak just happened? Because I had no idea. Like, I was like...
And then, was that the
well,
last time?
well, we were trying to figure out what we were even doing.
Yeah.
Like, were we just going to be
Did
friends?
we live together then?
Yes.
Okay.
I was like, are we going to be friends? Like, how's this going to work? Like, I don't
And
even
I
know
didn't
if
know.
I trust this
I
girl.
didn't want to pressure you. I didn't
And
want to like.
yeah, and I went back over to her house and we just sat there and drank because I was like, I don't know what the freak just happened. Like,
I'm in a relationship again.
yeah, I was like, I don't know how that
And
happened.
you know what's stupid? It was January 3rd. And I know that because I put it in my phone. I was like, I'm going to remember this. It's like, me and Kenneth got back together at AMC Theater. And it was like a question mark, like, but did we?
We got together?
I don't know.
Yeah, it was
I guess
weird.
it all turned out okay.
Yeah, it turned out good.
It
All
did.
because of Stacy.
Yep.
Look at you.
You have a way with words.
You're not.
Do you remember what
Our
you said to me
situations.
once in a theater parking lot?
Oh, Lord.
When you
Yes.
you
I'm cackling at you, boy.
so romantic.
I was driving off and I rolled my window down because he hadn't taken it to his car yet, and I was like,
I was going to my car.
I'm cackling at you, boy.
I'm going to my car.
I roll the window
And I
up
hear
and I'm like,
the window, or her pull up in the window, and she goes, "I'm cackling at you, boy." I was like, of course.
Oh, my God.
I roll the window up and I'm like, what the heck was that?
One of those things you lay in bed at night thinking about for
Right.
weeks.
And you just shake your head. Like, what was that?
Stacey has been notorious since I've known her for saying the most off the wall or inappropriate things, not
on
even
purpose.
meaning to be. She's just. I kind of want to tell the stories, but also I don't want to offend the delicate Christian ears of some of these viewers.
The thing about it is, it was all innocent. It was never trying to be dirty or.
Okay, so have you heard our most quoted Stacey quote about the chocolate molten cake?
Oh yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
We still to this day, me and Kenneth went to Chili's. When was that? After that 360 event?
Yes.
We did
like
a 360 photo booth event downtown, and we were leaving, and we wanted snacks, so we went and got some chips and ranch, and then a molten. But you like lean over to the table, like, "Excuse me, can you blow on this and make it hard?"
I think when I said that, I was even just like, it was like a cute waiter or something, and I was like trying to be all funny at the time, and then it just really made him
For
uncomfortable.
those that do not know, if you go to Chili's and you get one of their molten lava cakes,
Yes.
they pour like a liquid chocolate on top of the ice cream, and the shell kind of hardens. And so her favorite thing to do was like to crack it with a spoon. So the waiter brings it out, and she goes to whack it, and it just kind of like melts into the ice cream.
Yeah.
It hadn't hardened yet.
It made
so
sense
she
at the time. It
was
was like-
trying to be witty. "Excuse me, sir, can you blow on this
blow on
and
it?"
make it hard?" And I bust out laughing, and this waiter's like, "What?
And he just he
Just,
walked
like,
away.
walked away.
He's like,
I'm not dealing with these people. Oh man,
There's
Good times.
definitely some more, but yeah.
that's a good start. That's a good start for the podcast.
I don't know. My brain just has malfunctions sometimes.
But you found somebody that equally kind of weirdly malfunctions with you. I remember y'all's your entire little song list that you did for your wedding. Y'all remember you're like, you're the cream to the crop or something.
Oh.
Yeah,
I
that
get
little.
that stuck in my head.
That was a Sunday afternoon. We were driving
Yeah.
after church, and
The-
either going to a restaurant or we had just eaten. But I don't even remember. It
You're
just-
the cream. How does it
it
go?
was like-
I don't remember. I get it stuck in my head. I don't even know the
was,
words.
I gotta find that video.
You are the cream
Oh,
of the crop.
yeah.
Yes.
You are the cherry on top. You are the frog that won't hop away.
You are.
It was so. You are the sunlight in my
You are
day.
the party that don't stop.
Yeah, it was. It,
It was so
it was
cheeseball.
Goodness.
Random.
I forgot that song was even on that thing.
There was like 3 or 4, wasn't there? It wasn't
Yeah.
just the one.
I
He
think there
sang a
was
song.
like
I sang
3
a song.
songs.
Jeez,
And then
Kenneth,
that
why didn't we
was-
sing any songs for
That
our
was
wedding?
like just a little goofy thing at the end.
Yeah.
Sing? I was too busy pulling people out of the mud.
You ain't lying.
Your friends.
Oh man, the tornado night. Wasn't it like tornado warnings and stuff, or
I
it was
don't
just
think so.
rain?
It was just
At
heavy
the
rain.
end, it was.
That's what
But
I
yeah,
thought.
Kenneth missed like over half probably of our wedding reception because he was pulling my friend out of the mud because he drove like right through a wheat field that was completely bogged down and wet.
Because it didn't rain till after our first dance. Mm-hmm. It started pouring down rain. Everybody parked out in the wheat field. And everybody was told when they were leaving not to drive out in the wheat field, to back up back on the road. She had a genius friend that happened to have a truck. And he pulled right out in the middle of that field and got stuck. And I had to get on the tractor and go pull him out. Not just once, twice.
So he comes back and his pants are like rolled up and tucked into his boots and he's got
I
his little
remember that.
suspenders but his white shirt is like rolled up and he's just like wet.
I'm here.
I'm here to
Yeah,
dance.
and then I ended up having to go back out there to pull him back out after that. And then I think,
Because the only reason we went and got you, I think, because everyone was leaving.
yeah,
right?
we were leaving.
Well,
Yeah, I had to carry her to the car so y'all could get
I think-
video and photos.
yeah. But we got a couple of dances in because, like, if you look at the pictures, like, you're in there.
Yeah.
With, like, Brandon and next to you. And so we got a few dances in.
Yeah, I was standing there like this.
Did it go by fast? Did it seem like it just like went by?
Oh,
The
yeah.
wedding?
Super quick.
Oh, yeah.
The whole day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But our wedding day was different because
It was long.
it was like a work day for him because he helped. So my grandparents had an airplane hangar. My papa used to have a plane, so he had pulled the plane out of the airplane hangar, and then we draped. I say we, Kenneth and his crew.
No. We power washed it.
Power
Then we
washed it, and
squeegeed
then-
the floors because you're talking about it's a hangar out in the middle of a field. So it
Y'all did
had
that all
dust.
that day?
Yeah, I power washed it. We pulled all the cars out, the plane, power washed it, squeegeed it, and then we
they
hung drape
draped and
all
lit
the way around.
whole
it.
thing. 'Cause
I went
that's
to
when he worked with your dad for a little
yeah,
bit.
I went to your dad's and he filled my trailer up with drapes and everything else, and I loaded that thing down with my little truck. That thing was like I was grinding on the bumper of that thing going down the highway.
I will say though, if you look at our wedding pictures, it does not look like an airplane hangar.
Oh no,
Y'all
no.
did great.
I remember Nana was like, "I can't believe this," and I was like, "I told you." We had the LED lights, we did everything.
Yeah, it looked like
good.
a venue.
But we got married on my grandparents' property in front of the barn where Kenneth says was like the first night that he knew he loved me because we stayed on top of the barn watching the sunrise. That was the night we went hunting with a bunch of friends. We went spotlighting, and then we just never went to sleep. We watched the sunrise on this barn, and so we got married right in front of that barn with
See,
a tree.
it is
and-
romantic.
So
We
romantic.
I have
tried,
a story.
We went spotlighting the night before.
like killing things.
Killing things. Alyssa ran
go
over
kill
some.
some things
She
and
ran
fall
over
in
some
love.
rabbits
I
and
love
stuff.
you.
That's the reason.
That was fun.
That's what made her love my Bronco
That is true.
because that thing would turn on a dime.
Well, they made me
Yeah.
drive, and I don't know how I didn't throw these guys out of the car
Yeah.
because I would be like,
Because
and
we
they
had
just
we had the top off. The guys were shooting over the top of the hood, because they're just leaned up on it. But it was
Was it a
fun.
white Bronco?
It was a no. I wish it was a blue one, blue and tan. It
Why
was
is
an
it gotta be white?
Eddie Bauer edition.
I'm just asking.
just watched the
It's
OJ.
fresh on my mind.
It's a OJ.
The OJ. The OJ documentary.
Yep.
all this wedding talk though, I forgot. I just remembered that I had a dream last night that we were renewing our vows, and it was like the most stressful thing ever. Like in the dream, I'm back there in our bedroom, and I'm like, "Where are my fake eyelashes?" Like I could not find my fake eyelashes, and I remember looking in the mirror, and I was like, "These aren't going to cut it. These are so small. Like I need my fake eyelashes." And so I was gonna wear my original wedding dress, and so we get to this venue, and like I'm fatter than I was, and so I'm like my dress isn't fitting right, and there's like 5 or 6 other couples that are also renewing their vows, and it was like this big extravaganza that
Were we in Vegas?
it's something. It was weird. It was kind of like, but you know what?
Getting married by Elvis?
It was a barbecue joint though. Because like I walk in and there was like this long slide of land with like picnic tables just all the way up. And people sat there. Like that's where people were sitting to watch us all get married. And I was supposed to go get like a plate of barbecue before the ceremony. So like go up
I'm
there.
gonna be late.
And I'm like fiddling with my dress because it won't close in the back. And then all these other people were like, "Oh, I got a new dress for our vow renewal." And I was like, "I should have got a new dress." So I'm like stressed out about not having a new dress. And it was like yellow in my dream. It was like the age had, or time had aged it. Like,
Do you have yours in a bag?
no.
Me neither.
And
Actually, I
mine-
do have it in a bag, but it's not one of those like preserved.
I guess, yeah, mine's in a bag, but not the preserved kind.
Yeah.
Mine has dirt and stains on the train, though, from all of the
Oh, 'cause
rain and
mud.
dirt floor. And it's probably a goner. At least the bottom. It's probably fine.
Throw some bleach on it.
It'll be fine. Okay, so how long have you guys been married?
10 years this year.
Oh, snap. Mm-hmm. It is. It's 2025.
And what about you guys? What 2000 what?
13 years.
This year will be 13 or this year will be 14?
This year coming up, it'll be 14.
Yeah,
We're married for
Nice.
13.
that's weird. That seems weird.
Yeah.
I remember thinking, like, oh my gosh, how do people make it 15 in 20 years?
I know.
I'm not kidding. We almost didn't.
That is true. We almost did not.
But you did.
Persevere, but God. Literally. It was literally God.
Yep.
So what would you guys say is the best marriage advice? What if somebody came up to you and was like, hey, we're thinking about getting married? What would you guys say?
I think for sure put God first. But I think one thing that, you just need to communicate and learn to communicate respectfully, even when you're mad. That's a really hard thing to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then to actually have grace, to be like, okay. I don't know. And everyone's different too. They handle things differently. So learning like your partner and learning how they respond to things.
Man, that can be a process too.
Yeah.
I swear, we were like miserable our whole first year of marriage trying to learn each other.
Horrible.
And
Everybody's
then it was
like, oh, we had a honeymoon phase. We never had a honeymoon phase.
I think we had our honeymoon phase
When
at
we were
like year
dating.
8 or 9.
Yeah. Yeah, we I don't know.
Like even now, sometimes I feel like
Yeah.
we're 10 times more honeymoon phase than we
Yeah,
were
man.
at the beginning.
It was
Yeah.
rough.
Our first couple of years were pretty terrible.
But that's kind of like a, I don't know, redemption story.
It is kind of, it's backwards. Like most people, like we said, have those honeymoon years, but
Felt like it got worse. And then
it's like it came to a head.
it came to a head. And then it was like, hey, fight or flight.
But one thing we realized though during all that was that the one thing that we had not been doing was keeping God first.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it really got us into a mess. And it was like once we realized that we'd basically just been living wrong, like that. And it's not that we were like necessarily running around doing everything
Yeah.
God says not to do. It's just that we didn't care. We were just kind of like, meh.
Well, that and we were lukewarm. We
Yeah,
we didn't
absolutely.
we just showed up. That was really
Just
it.
living day to day.
Yeah. And then it
Going
got to the
through the
point where we were
motions.
just like, oh, we're busy. We can't go to church this Sunday because we had changed churches.
And it
And
wasn't like
moved.
that the whole time. Like there were times
No.
where we were like serving in a church where we were, seeking a little more and doing well. But we just, for the
Never
most part,
consistent.
we were a mess.
What would you say, Brian?
Well, I would say putting God first in marriage, God is love. And I think a lot of times the falling in love and the butterflies and the giddiness, we experienced all that, but love is a choice. And I think that a lot of times that would be one of the biggest things that I would tell to any couple, young couples or any new couple, that, it's not always going to be a feeling of, oh, I'm so in love with this person and everything's perfect. But no, it's like you have to make a conscious choice and before God and each other that you're going to walk in love and walk in humility, lay down your pride and really serve each other. Because that's real love right there, is serving and giving of yourself, even when you maybe don't feel it or don't feel like it. It's every day is not going to be perfect, and there's going to be challenges. But when you have that kind of commitment, then the communication seems to just be much better and much more, you can communicate openly and just know that no matter what you do or how mad you make this person that you spend all your time with and that you live with, that they love you and that they're going to be there for you. Just like, we used to say whenever we were first like really seriously dating, it just was like, it just kind of felt like home. It was just like, this is just feels so, you just felt like home to me. And that was not just, the gushy love, but also like I felt safe around you. I felt like I could open up and just communicate to you. And like, if there was a problem or if there was something that we needed to discuss, I didn't feel like I was pushed away, but like you wanted the same thing.
Yeah.
And so that kind of puts you on the same page as your spouse. So that would be what I'd say.
I think the most beautiful part about marriage is that there's so many times where it's like at the end of an argument when you do have time to like realize, okay, yeah, I really shouldn't have done that. Or I said, it's the going back and being like, listen, like, I don't know, because there's so much security in that. And that's just the beautiful thing. You know that you're always going to be together. You're not going to get divorced. Like making that commitment and like, okay, this is my person. There's just something so beautiful in that, to where like you push past the what ifs and I need to be happy for myself. But you're one.
Yeah.
So like this should be what you're trying to make happy rather than yourself.
Yeah.
You know?
That's so true, because like being in a place where we were like actually so close to divorce, it was like you woke up every day and were like, well, am I going to try to fight for this or no? And it really is, like he said, the love is a choice, because there were times I didn't want to love him. There was times he didn't want to love me. And you kind of just have to fight for it when you don't have any fight left. And it's kind of, I don't know, I think the Lord is gracious in that, because I think he gives each person strength when the other doesn't have any. So it was like when I didn't want to fight anymore, he had a little bit more fight, and vice versa. When he was like down, I was ready to fight a little bit harder. And I don't know, I think sometimes it just works that way when you're, you know, seeking the Lord. But
You remember the sign you gave us?
yes.
You
dumb
big
love
dumb
of
love
my
of my life. You dumb love.
Oh, good
It's
old
kind of
evil
like a
boy.
goofy way of saying what is short and sweet, what we just said.
Yeah.
But what was that? Evil Roy Slade? You dumb love of my life.
It's a good movie.
I've learned a lot about myself being married, for sure. And how messed up I was at the beginning.
Yeah.
I mean, Brian, for me, taught me a lot of how a man loves a woman. My parents were divorced. Because
I was thinking of the other song. Have you ever?
What's that?
When a man loves a woman. I don't even know how it goes.
I don't know.
Anyways,
That sounds kind of cheeseball, but I mean, my parents were divorced, and I guess I never saw the follow through, and I never saw, like, I mean, I love my parents and I love my dad, but I never saw what it was like for a man to stand by his woman, I guess. And Brian's always been very caring and loving, and even when we are having some hard times, he's still caring, and he cares about me.
I'm like a puppy. I'm very loyal.
She beats you when you go to the bathroom on the floor, but you still love her.
This is actually an abusive situation.
Sometimes pee on the rug.
I'm sorry, Stacey, I beat you. I was so excited to see you. Brian, you beat a circle around me again.
Anyways, I don't know if any of that made sense.
It does, though. I like this dynamic, though, because your parents are divorced. Yours are still together, though.
Yeah, I never had
And then
really.
both of ours
any
are still together.
divorce in my family.
But it's been a different dynamic. Kenneth comes from, like, Catholic family. Like,
Yeah.
his parents they just kind of do their own thing. But my parents are always like, I mean, you know my parents. They're
Yeah.
just lovey and
Together
they're
all the
just
time.
touching all the time. And I don't know. I think that was weird for him when he first came around.
What's wrong with these people?
100%. They kept hugging me, and I was like, "What the freak?"
Get
is wrong
off
with
me.
these people? Like I'm just saying, hug me, and I just stand there like, "What the heck
like-
are these people doing?" Yeah, pretty much. Because I remember, I'm dead serious. When she said that I was invited to her birthday party, we'd gone on like 2 dates,
That was
And
a
her
surprise,
sister
though,
calls
because
me,
Audrey called him.
and I'm like, "Hello." She's like, "Hey, this is Audrey," and I'm like, "What the freak is Audrey?" Like I was freaking out. Like I don't know this girl. And she's like, "Oh, I'm Melissa's sister, blah, blah." I'm like, "Oh, hey, like, where the heck did you get my number?" And anyway, she invited me. Well, I show up, and her mom hugs me. Never met the woman. And she hugs me. She's like, "Oh, I've heard so much about you." And I'm like, "Oh, hey," because I didn't know who she was.
You didn't know Audrey
No,
or Brandon?
no. I didn't know Audrey
So
or Alyssa.
he was friends with Brandon, but remember Brandon and his parents divorced, and my aunt stayed in our town,
Okay.
and Brandon went to live with his dad in
Okay.
another city. So he went to Kenneth's school, where I was not a part of. Like I went to a completely different school, and so me and Brandon kind of lost touch. Like we used to be
Okay.
close in middle school, then we lost touch. He became
And then
friends
you
with
met.
him, and I never knew him even through high school.
Yeah, and I stayed at her aunt's house all
But y'all are the
time.
same age.
Well, he's a year older, but we were the same grade.
Yeah. It was weird.
It is, yeah.
I think that was the weirdest thing about our marriage was learning trust. Because I didn't have no trust. There's things that I just told her this last year that I've never.
There was a ton of stuff, too, though, when we were going through all of our stuff.
Yeah.
Like, having to learn to trust each other through all of that. He told me a ton of things that I never knew. And
Yeah. And then when we went to Montana, when was that? September? Mm-hmm. We went to Montana in September. And so we had a lot of driving. So we had a lot of time to talk.
we have pulled up questionnaires, like questions to ask your spouse.
And we didn't just do it for like an hour. We did it for like
2 or 3 hours at a time.
2 or 3 hours. Yeah, like I guarantee you throughout the day we did like 6 hours of the questions.
Some good relationship building.
We
It really
laughed a
was.
lot,
We
though.
laughed a lot. But there's things that I told her that I was like, I was like, there's no way if I tell her this,
She's gonna divorce me.
she'll never look at me the same way again. Like she would probably be like, I can't believe I married this guy.
No, I died laughing.
And she was like,
It was fun.
After 13 years. Or
I'm in it for
12.
the long haul now. You can tell me all your dirt.
There's some pretty deep dirt in there. I'll tell you that. And yeah, it was crazy.
You're a rare gem, babe.
Yeah.
You're tough exterior, but you're gushy inside. It's like
Like a weed
Well, yeah, I got blood like you. Fat.
Not anymore. You're all skinny now.
yeah, you are.
Yeah, she posted a picture today to mine and JD, like
The
our
group
investor
chat.
group. And it was a picture of,
It's when his hair was like down to here.
yeah.
Oh my gosh.
But
yeah.
the way he looks, it's like wind blown, and he's got a
Dude.
jacket, and he's like puffy, and JD's like petting his head.
Yeah, and my cheeks are like this.
He was.
I was,
like, babe, I don't
I was
remember
fat.
you
I was like,
having that
dang, I
much
don't
weight."
remember. But that was railroad life back then. That was whenever I had all that weight on.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Man, we could go off on like tangents about ups and downs of
Yeah.
marriage and life.
I think ours changed whenever we started seeking the Lord together. Because we'd do it on and off, and we did a lot of it separately. And then we started doing it. We made a thing where we'd come every morning. We'd get up before the kids, and we'd sit in here and read and
Together.
stuff. Not always together. We'd
Yeah,
be
just
in the same room, but separate, doing the same. And because before, she wouldn't get up till like 10 o'clock.
I just had a vision of y'all being like, Jesus, like saying the same.
Reading over each other.
Like chanting.
Oh, Lord.
No. Yeah, because before I would get up, I would read a little bit, and then I'd go to work. She would get
And
up
I'd
about
get
10
up
o'clock,
and read a little
bit,
bit,
and then maybe start school. But we
It is
started doing
nice,
it. It
though,
helps us
because-
hold each other accountable more, too.
Yeah.
And two, we get to discuss things that we don't, like, during the day we don't really have time for. So, like, we'll read something and be like, oh, I never thought about blah, blah, blah,
Yeah, there's sometimes we'll be sitting there reading for like 5-10 minutes and then go into a questionnaire about, hey, I just read this. Like, what do you think? And we go into this long, in-depth conversation about whatever it is, whatever Bible verse it was.
It's really cool, though.
But
I guess that's the general consensus then of the table is keep God first, and
Yeah. But when
Maybe.
you're seeking Him, He kind of just puts everything where it needs to go.
and it's not that he like makes things easy. Like you
Oh,
know, we
no.
still run into things that we have arguments about or whatever, but there's just it's well, not to be cliche, but it's a solid ground, and it's like a
Yeah.
I feel like it gets easier. The fight, you always have stupid little fights, and it's always the little stuff. The big stuff never really, I feel
Yeah.
like, aren't fights anymore. But the little annoying crap,
literally.
Oh, yeah.
literally.
I don't even remember the last big thing we fought about. When we fight, it's about like, are you gonna put this sock in the dirty clothes hamper, or am I gonna have to walk over it all day? Like stupid stuff.
And then I look at her and I turn around and walk off, and then she's,
I can't stand that.
yep.
You talk to me.
then she's on. She comes behind me like she's gonna beat me or something.
Ours is, are you trying to burn the house down? There's like a teddy bear in here.
Goodness.
Dryer.
Dryer lint.
Listen,
You're supposed
I'm
to
doing
clean
my best.
that out.
Hey,
I know.
You want to know what's
regular-
worse? is her cleaning it out is sticking it on top of the dryer.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I
And
do
it
that,
piles
but
up.
you know
It's a
why? That's my
collection.
passive aggressive way of showing her the teddy bear.
No, hers is just she doesn't want to walk to the trash can.
Listen, in my defense, I have to put it somewhere so that I can continue doing what I'm doing without fuzz all over my hands.
Yes,
And then
I
I
get
start
that.
the dryer,
Yeah.
and I have a problem and forget
Hey,
what
you
I'm
don't
doing,
get
and
it.
I go somewhere
Hey,
else.
You don't even clean it out.
Yes, I do.
For
Once-
Valentine's
okay.
Day, make her a bear out of the dryer fuzz. And like,
It would be
would
like
be
one of those, it would be one of those like $99 ones at Walmart. Like,
Human size.
it would be sitting in a chair, like life
For a
size.
while, like I was getting so frustrated because I had like a toilet paper thing, and you would take it off and put it. What was that? Was it the toilet paper?
Oh, she would get upset because I'd take the toilet paper off the roll and just put it on the back of the toilet.
Yes.
That's all I do. I stick it
Why
on the
is it
counter.
there?
Like,
I know,
hate-
I have this cute little thing, and he's like, I hate that thing. I'm like, it holds the toilet paper.
It works.
But he puts it on the counter, and so I have to like move my contact case around everything and the toilet paper.
Oh man.
Speaking of pet peeves, what are some of your other favorites about each other? And by favorites, I mean least. Because
I really want to go down this road because I don't feel like a fight needs to
That's the
happen.
only
I mean,
one I can think
funny
of.
ones.
we were discussing the smacking thing.
That-
I've always been very sensitive to people smacking and mouth noises, and that was a big one.
But I
when
think
we
she's
first-
more sensitive to bag noises, like the sound of the bag.
Yes,
Yeah.
if he has like a bag of potato chips, it's like constant noise. Like there's not a break. There's not like a, oh, let me get a chip and eat it. It's like, and then the smacking, and then back in the bag. It's like a non.
Have y'all noticed though that like you get irritated worse now that we're getting older?
Yeah.
Like I feel like things bothered me, but not near as bad as they do now. And now it's like one thing sets me off, and I'm ready to flip a table.
Well, maybe
Like,
it's because of the age of our kids, though.
maybe that's too.
Because
Instinct.
they add another level of noise,
Yeah,
mess,
that's true.
frustration.
Well, with Kenneth, it's the ice chewing, which you know full well about.
Oh yeah.
Because we used to watch movies and stuff at the apartment, but that has never changed. It is all the time, always.
You just have to.
That's why she doesn't have ice in the house anymore.
It's not true, but it doesn't help. I mean, it's stuff like a perk. But Kenneth, he doesn't just crunch ice with like his mouth closed.
It's like a.
He goes. Like these little-
There's one long one, and then it's like.
It is. It's long, and then. Ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta. And he'll be like. I'm having a mental picture. He'll be sitting on the couch watching something the kids are watching, and he's like. Just like happy as can be watching it. I'm like, my eyes twitching.
She acts like I don't know
Chewing
this because,
the
like,
ice.
as soon as she gets annoyed, everybody in the room knows it. Because she's like freaking out, and I'm like, look over at her, and I'm like, and I do it even more because I'm like,
Ice, nachos, chips. It's the long crunch and the million others.
The chewing is a big deal. I don't know what else. What's your pet peeve of me
Yeah, I need to know one.
besides the air, the dryer,
besides the air I'm breathing.
besides my air? There's got to be some. You seem pretty chill with me, but I feel like there's some that you're hiding.
I think ours are different because we don't try to remember them.
Is it a man thing?
Yeah, I don't really like it's whatever it is. Because I mean, I know when I get mad about stuff and it's constant, but it's not something that I really remember until it happens.
I think
Yeah.
I
That's how
think
mine
y'all's
is.
irritations are like y'all's hormones. Like y'all's renew every 24 hours. And like ours,
Oh, and like you don't think about it
yeah,
again.
but our hormones
I'm
are
still
on like a
thinking-
30-day long thing, so we like
I need a little
recycle.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was gonna say I know if I really, really, really tried to think about it, I could come up with some stuff, but it doesn't really even go through my mind until it happens again.
I wish I was
So,
like that. Because I will
Same.
sit, like, I love you so much. But there's days where, like, if you make me mad in the morning, I sit all day long. I'm like, and he does this, and he does this, and he does this, and he's so stupid.
Look
And
at
that's what happened
Just
to
look at him.
Oh,
that's what
there.
happened to
Look at
the
this
fruit
beard.
in the garden.
With what?
What?
Shut
The
up.
fruit in the garden.
He always goes back to that. You know, it's your fault. There's sin.
You know, just like Job's wife. You know,
You
curse
women.
God and die. You know,
He tells me that all the
continuously.
time, yeah.
Brian and I were laughing earlier that, well, I used to tell him a lot whenever we were dating, even that it's like we were married. I was like, it's like I married my best friend because there's so many things that he says that I'm like, Alyssa says that. Or y'all even have like some of your favorite movies. Like, I'm like, I married Alyssa.
Didn't you say also like how I get, because, okay, I get more mad at an inanimate object
Oh, yeah.
than any person
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
could ever make me.
Oh, yeah.
Like little stupid things.
I will cuss out a chair.
And I know one time that happened and Stacy was like, you are just like Alyssa. It's like you're like the male version of my best friend.
You know what though? That was always my favorite thing is when she made fun of me for that because her reenactments were so funny to me.
There's been a fly in here all day.
Because I know it's ridiculous. Like it's coming out of me, and I'm like, I know this is absurd, and I can't quit it.
Well, it's like she got so mad one time at my socks because she couldn't find the pairs. And she literally lost it.
What?
Yeah, you're throwing socks. Because you're sitting there on the couch folding laundry. And you, like, I don't know what it was. You kept finding socks. You're like, I have all these freaking socks and there's no matches. And you're like freaking out. And I'm like, they're just socks.
Burn this house down.
Chill out. I'm like, I bet they're in the next load. And you're like, no, I did one load. I'm like, I go find another laundry basket. And then she gets mad at me for finding a laundry basket full of clothes that
I
she
always
didn't
tell
see.
him, shut up with your logic. I don't want to hear it.
Yeah, that actually
Let me
is.
rage.
We were talking about pet peeves. That's something that it probably annoys you when I do it, but I'm annoyed at you because I'll be like, "Where's my socks?" And you're like, I just did laundry. They're over. I'm like, "There's no matches." And I'm like, "Where's the other sock?" And you'll like,
And then I'm
have,
like, you're a grown man.
You got an orange sock and a red sock. I don't care. It's
That's probably like one of yours with me. Is
I was
like,
a huge pet peeve because I'm like, where are my socks?
oh, I was going to talk about your collection on the bar.
I don't
Like
even
we
shut
have
up.
the corner of the bar right there. It stacks with Kenneth's stuff. He has nowhere specific for his things, and so it just overflows.
I don't even
the
have
bar.
a dresser in our own room.
So I will like put his piles in places, and then he's like, "Hey, where's that screw that was about this big and it's green on the tip?" And I'm like, "How the freak am I supposed to know?" I'm like,
do
"Was
that all
it in
the
your
time.
pile?"
But I'm like, "Where's that?" There's like it's a little black round thing. Where
Yeah.
is it?
Like,
It's like a
oh,
plastic.
No.
I had it right there.
yeah.
I hate that
Well,
so much.
you know what's the crazy thing is they're like, I cleaned the bar. She goes and finds an Amazon box that she didn't throw away for the last 10 months and fills it with all my crap and goes sticks it in the corner.
do with it?
Where I'm not going to look. I'm like, hey, where'd all my stuff go? She's like, it's in there. I'm like, all right, I'm looking. I'm like, where the freak is it? She was like, it's in that box. Well, now there's
Everything
5
is in the
collections
box.
of boxes in there. Which box now?
Well, maybe you should do something with the stuff.
Thank you.
Oh, I was
Thank
until
you.
they moved
Let's
it out of sight, out of
pay
mind.
bills. No. Oh, marriage in a nutshell.
It is.
Yeah.
It's quite the charm.
It is weird. Like you just pick a person and you're like, I think I'll live with you forever.
Yeah, it's
Maybe
like,
this will work out.
yeah. Well, the crazy thing is like
Your face.
Brian said
like-
earlier, it's like, there's really no perfect match.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
if you work at it, that's the thing is, love is not always just a feeling. And, I don't know, like,
Well, you guys were talking about like how y'all felt like home for each other. I didn't necessarily feel like that with Kenneth, but it was like, this is going to sound so dramatic, but I couldn't live without him. Like the thought of losing him altogether or the thought of him being with anybody else, I was like, I'm going to literally lose my mind. And I
sound
don't
like
know
a
if,
serial killer.
I know, it sounds kind of toxic now that I'm saying it out loud.
No one will.
Hey, puts the lotion on the skin.
I
I
must
always do
keep
tell him,
him.
like, I'm going to strangle you in your sleep tonight. So, watch out, babe.
At least I'll be asleep.
At least you don't have to worry about her being pregnant again. Aren't you most angry when you're pregnant? Isn't that what you told me?
I mean,
Yeah.
I, like, attacked him one time.
He goes twice. The
In
first,
my
the first
defense, he was
pregnancy.
being a number one a-hole. And, like, pushing my buttons on purpose to make me angry.
I could see that, Kenneth.
And I, like, flew at him like a cat. Like, literally, my arms were going like this. And I'm like, "Ah!" And then he just
I
laughed at
remember
me.
she
He
was
said,
sitting there punching me in the back of the head, and all I could do was laugh. Because I was expecting a lot more coming out of her because of how mad she was. And I just remember her punching me in the back of the head, and I was just sitting there laughing. And I turned around to grab her, and I was just laughing because it was so funny because she was so mad and she's so small, so there wasn't a lot behind it. So I was like holding her, and she starts bawling her eyes out and at me. But I kept laughing. I didn't mean to, but it was.
I don't ever want to be
couldn't help
pregnant
it.
again.
I couldn't help it. It was one of
Done
those
with that.
things.
I always think about our night at the apartments. We had an argument. I don't even remember what the argument. It was probably something pretty small. And then I ran down to the park. Do you remember? I
Like
The
the
playground
Notebook?
when we lived in the apartment.
Yes. I just was like stormed out, slammed the door, and then he found me at the park just sitting there all sad. He was like,
It was like one of those
Listen.
after school movies. She's like,
Oh my gosh, that makes me think. So one time we were not doing well, and we had gone out, I think with your sister. Anyways, we both got drunk. Sorry, Mom and Dad, if you're listening. They're gonna be like,
could you?
But no, we got in this huge fight about, like, I just started asking questions about his past that didn't matter, but I was drunk. And I'm like, I want to know, you know? And so he's like telling me, he's answering the questions, and I'm immediately mad. Anyways, we get back to our apartment.
Was this after? Oh, this was early on in our marriage.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And has to fix it by, like, trying to start something. And I'm like, get away from me, you know? Like, so I'm sleeping on the couch, and he goes into the bedroom. And then I hear the door open, and he comes back out, and he's like, this is so stupid. He's just bad-mouthing. And he starts, like, putting pants on and grabbing his keys. And I said, where are you going? And he goes, I'm going home. I was like, this is your home, you idiot. Oh, so he did not go home because he was, in fact,
You don't
home that
remember this
night.
still?
I do not.
I
remember
guess
that.
he was going to go to his grandpa's because we were, I mean, it was very early on in our marriage.
I'm
In that
going
apartment. Our home,
I don't
you
remember.
idiot.
I don't remember that at all.
That's so funny.
I'm a firm believer now, though, that I'm like, alcohol just causes more problems than it fixes.
100%.
Absolutely.
So we're on that train nowadays. Oh, goodness. Good times. Running away, trying to go home in marriage.
I'm going home. Yeah. But it's all a journey.
Stacey always tried to be super philosophical.
But not at all.
It's always a journey.
It's just a journey.
It's a garden. Dig it.
Yes, babe. It's just a garden.
It's Joe Dirt.
Well, I enjoyed having y'all on.
I did too. I think we should do it
I think we will.
maybe more often.
And we'll get
They're
more
like, oh, God.
comfortable. Maybe next time we can talk about raising kids.
We do need to have, we'll have like a Father's Day episode.
Yeah.
We'll have real questions for you guys.
Maybe we can play games. We weren't as prepared.
What kind of games?
Kenneth's face does not.
Oh, the judgment. But at least he doesn't hold back. At least you never really
You will
wonder what he's
always
thinking.
know where you stand with Kenneth Harmon. He will let you know either with his words or his face.
I think we should play charades on an audio-only podcast.
Genius.
Oh, man.
Just hear like the whooshing of the clothes. Elephant.
Elephant, no.
Angel.
Oh my gosh. We should figure out something though. We should
Two
do
words?
Some sort of fun podcast game.
Live callers. You're on the air.
Well, I guess that's it.
That's it.
Thank you, Brian, for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Kenneth, for being here in your own home. Appreciate that.
It was a pleasure. I was glad I was able to be here at this table.
That was like the most Ricky Bobby thing. Like, car handle real good.
At the table.
At this table. Where's microphone? What's the boss?
Did you do something?
No.
Oh my gosh, he muted himself. Well, I love you both. I love you all three, actually. I'm glad
Love
we're
you
friends. And we probably do need to do this more often since I told Stacey, I was like, I think the last time the four of us got together, was like when we used to eat pizza at
Parton's?
Parton's.
Dang.
The 80s pizza parlor?
Yeah.
Yep.
That was like
That's
when we
been
both
a-
had one baby each, I think.
I'm pretty
When
sure
we were all
Brian had
together, I
two.
mean,
Well, I mean like
Yeah.
with, because they weren't always there. Sometimes they were with.
I feel
yeah,
like they
they
were
came
there.
with us a lot to parties.
Yeah, I was gonna say they came in there a
They
lot.
didn't like to miss that.
Yeah. That
Yeah.
place is wild.
I feel like we
who
went
wouldn't
there a
want
lot.
pizza and tater tots?
Does it
Yeah.
still exist?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I heard.
need to go.
The last I heard was that they did upgrade or
It's
update
expanded.
something. It's
Yes, they
that's-
expanded.
bigger.
We've actually been.
They took the massage parlor over.
Oh gosh.
yeah, that thing was sketchy.
With all the security
Right.
cameras. And
They
like,
did. It got
Oh my
busted,
gosh.
and so you.
24-hour.
Yeah.
It did get busted.
Yeah, it got busted. But hey, you know who their biggest customer is now? The police department. You go in there at any time in Parton's right now, and there's like 4 or 5 police officers in there
Oh,
eating.
I thought we were
gotcha.
still talking about the massage
Me
parlor.
too.
About, like the police department.
I don't know. I don't know what's going
Breaking
on.
news. Truth bombs.
They figured out how
Fort Worth
profitable
PD.
it is.
Oh my gosh.
They got those new police cars.
We should do
Yeah,
a
it's been a minute.
podcast in Parton's.
From Parton's.
We should
you
see
do
if
that?
they'd let us. We just have to go ask them. Like, hey,
In the parking lot.
Well, it's not as 80s as it used to be
it not?
because it's up.
It's not as.
be like, hey, give us your
They
trashiest
have
corner.
some video games
We
in
need
there
their
now.
video
Yeah, they got
tape.
video games, but
I
it's,
liked the atmosphere before better when it was all
Yeah,
dark.
Definitely.
Christmassy.
You
Well,
thought
now I'm
like,
sad and kind of don't want
it
to
felt
go.
like you were in like
I want my memories
Karate
to
Kid or
remain.
Stranger Things or
It's
something.
still-
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
still-
Straight out of the
Is it?
old
Yeah.
days.
it was dark. Had the old neon lights and that nasty salad bar
Wasn't
looking
there
thing,
was like
but it was good.
It was
wallpaper
good.
on the ceiling though? Was it was like floral?
Well,
Or
I
was
think
that
the-
just in,
They had those ceiling
And it's like that was
textured
mold.
ceiling tiles.
Yeah.
I think.
I was gonna say it
those-
used to be. Do you remember whenever it was smoking?
No.
no, I don't remember that.
So
I
when we were
like it.
kids, like really young, they had smoking in there. Like that back wall where all the booths were, that was all smoking at one point.
Smoking
And
section.
so, but the stupid thing was, you're sitting right there. There wasn't no
I
wall.
know, there's-
It was just like, hey,
Well,
smoking.
I'm old enough to know.
Blowing it over there in your face.
I'm old enough to remember when that was everywhere.
Yeah.
And it
Oh,
was
yeah.
literally
That's
like
crazy.
the mall. You'd walk through the mall and smoke, and then some stores had no smoking, so my grandma would have to like put her cigarette out before we walked in that store.
Yes.
But like how old are y'all? Were y'all born in the 90s?
no 80s.
80s. Okay, so you're okay. So I remember malls had they had an organ store, like where you could buy organs.
Stop.
No, it was like every mall had
my
an
gosh.
organ store, like. Doo, 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 doo. And then there was like the big screen TV stores, and they were all
Yeah.
those TVs
Oh,
that
yeah.
weighed like 800 pounds because
Yeah.
they were like the projectors and the little RGB lights.
We were
Yeah,
just showing the kids
And
those the other day. They
they
were like,
all
"What?"
smelled like smoke because you could walk through the mall and smoke,
That's crazy.
and every restaurant was like that too. It was-
I remember the smell of walking into a restaurant, like smoky or non.
yeah,
Yeah.
You're not.
Yeah. Oh man.
Yeah, do you remember
That's
when they had
crazy.
they started splitting the restaurants, and this section usually had like a partial wall on it, but the smoke was everywhere
A lot of
still.
times, it didn't
Yeah.
matter though. It was
Yeah.
like you still smelled smoke
Do
everywhere.
y'all
Yeah.
remember like the absolute uproar the smokers caused when they started putting laws in place? They're like, "What are they gonna do next? You know, they say we can't smoke in the building at all." That's exactly what they were saying.
Yeah,
What do you mean I can't smoke on this plane? I mean, think about it. They used to like light up on these like Pan Am flights. Like there's
Seriously.
well, you think about it
Just a
now, like
cloud.
if you see somebody walk in with a cigarette into a restaurant,
People are like,
everybody would turn and be like, "I can't believe this guy's doing that."
near a building. Like
Oh,
a,
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Near a hospital.
The entryway.
yeah, if
yeah.
it gets
now,
in the door, like wafts in, people are like, "What's that smell?"
Yeah, I'm gonna
Yeah,
say
we used to
I
just
remember
live
there wasn't a restaurant.
Just
I don't
soak
think
it
there
in.
was a restaurant anywhere.
Well, now it just feels like nobody smokes.
That's true.
I mean,
Everybody vapes
I know
nowadays.
people that do, but
Yeah.
Everybody's got their little e-cigs.
Yep.
It's so weird. Like, I remember, I don't know why, but the smell of Applebee's and smoke.
yes,
That's very, like, that's
Oh,
in my
yeah.
brain.
Yep.
Gross.
When we were at that Applebee's and their fight broke out, were you there? It was after
I don't know
church.
if I was there.
Kenneth's
It was
like,
when
I
we-
don't
I
think
think
it's
it was-
true about Applebee's fight.
I think
Kidding.
I think it was when we were dating. We were dating, and it was maybe you weren't there. Maybe it was just me and the girls were there, and like a huge brawl broke out.
Applebee's brawl.
Applebee's.
Yeah,
Oh man.
but you were saying how people were outraged about smoking, like we can't smoke. One day we won't be able to smoke inside. That's what makes me laugh is like think about when seatbelts first came out. Everyone's like, "I ain't wearing this seatbelt. This is ridiculous." Like, Why?
No.
And then
But that's everything. It still happens. Like,
I still hate wearing a
Nonstop.
seatbelt.
I mean, I guess it can be, but it's just funny to me, like,
Still hate 'em.
because like when I grew up, you didn't have to
It's
wear them in
I
the
want to
back.
live on the edge. Dang it! Let me fly through this
And
windshield.
helmets. I know, like my dad's dad and my dad and his brother, they all rode motorcycles, and they didn't like to wear helmets. So it's.
But
a
I
thing.
remember being a kid and like wearing a helmet was just not cool. Mm-hmm. Like
Yeah.
only the
Well,
cool kids didn't
not
wear
on a
helmets.
bicycle. Like I still.
Talking about
I know, but that's
motorcycles.
what I'm saying. I'm saying that.
We're not talking about your tricycle.
Now they wear helmets like on one of those like 3-wheeled scooters. They're like, wearing it. But I mean, it's like.
I mean, like that mentality though carries on. Like, you don't want
Yeah.
to wear your helmet on your.
But
on your
it's a lot more
motorbike.
safety conscious today. But I realized I rode my bike all over the place, and I was younger than like Nora's 8 now, and I was younger than that, going
anywhere.
like all over. And when
Kenneth
I
rode his bike like what 30 miles one day.
Oh yeah.
As
My-
a kid?
Like crossed
Yeah.
a lake bridge.
So no,
Like,
so my
what?
mom, so my parent, I went to Lake Worth, but we lived here in Springtown because my mom was a principal in Lake Worth, so she made us go to school there because she didn't trust us out here riding the bus and being home alone. So, anyways, we got in trouble one time. Me and a bunch of my buddies. Well, we came home to my house and we all had our bikes. Well, my mom woke up at like 4:30 in the morning to go run because she's a marathon runner, and she was like, if y'all don't wake up with me, then y'all not going into Lake Worth today. I'm like, all right, we didn't wake up that early. So we slept in, and we got bored out here, and we said, screw it, let's ride into Lake
Rode the
Worth.
bikes to Lake Worth.
So we rode our bikes to Lake Worth.
What? That's so crazy.
And I'm like,
I think we
would
were,
ask my
I
mom,
think we
"Can
were
I
like
ride my bike if I don't
12.
go past the
Well,
neighbor's
we weren't
mailbox?"
Yeah.
8 or 10. We were like 12 or 13, I think 12, maybe 12
yeah.
at the time. But yeah, we rode it all the way in, and I remember my mom, like, she would run and then go work at her school, and we rode around probably half the day and drove up to her school, and we're like, hey, what's up? She was like, what are you doing here? I'm like, we rode in town. You rode from Springtown? I'm like, yeah. She was like, okay. That was it. Nothing was ever said.
I was just telling Stacy that like I had to go ask my mom like, can I go ride my bike if I don't go past the neighbor's mailbox? And she's like, yeah,
Oh,
that'll
wow.
be fine.
Yeah. I mean, we would ride around the block.
Yeah, we lived on a cul-de-sac, so we did a little bit, but
We rode
I would ride my
everywhere.
bike to school.
I had
a
to be
little
with
bit.
somebody to ride farther though. Like if I was
Yes.
just riding by myself, I had to stay between the mailboxes.
I
right in front
rode
of the
with a
house.
girl. I'd ride down the street. I'd ring her doorbell. She'd come out, and we'd ride to school together on our bikes.
Man.
And it's just crazy now because like I would never let my kids do anything.
I know.
I'm like, huh.
Nora's
I let
still
'em-
learning to ride a bike because
Yeah.
I'm like, we never had a spot for them to even just ride.
Yeah, I'll let them ride down like a long ways, but I stand in the yard and like watch them.
Yeah.
you can't do it by yourself.
Nora would be like, "Can I go to their house and eat dinner?" Like, no,
never
we
met
don't
them."
know them. Like, they're my friends. Like,
Oh,
you
my
never
gosh.
hung out with them ever.
Yep.
Dude, that's Evelyn. She thinks everybody's her best friend.
Yeah.
She was talking to everybody at the grocery store today. Hi, how are you today?
Love her.
Pipe down.
Pipe down.
I remember when Nora did that, like, was trying to make an introduction to you and another mom. Like,
Oh,
at the
yeah.
grocery store. It was a grocery store.
Oh gosh.
Like, exchange, like, can we go to each other's house? Can we play? Like, she
We
met.
literally met at the grocery store. No.
Yeah. Yeah. But I do remember when the girls like were young, they would do that a lot, especially if we were at the pool at the apartment, and they saw me talking to a lady. Peyton would always be like, "Get her number, be her friend," you know. I'm like,
Encouraging you.
want to be her friend.
I want to stay antisocial.
Yeah.
Oh goodness.
I remember even taking Nora as like young. Like I wouldn't want to go to the store and talk to anybody, but I would end up talking to people because she was so social, even as a 2-year-old. Like, don't look at anyone.
Don't make eye contact. Oh man.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like Hazel. Hazel used to never talk to anybody. She would mean mug
She
everybody.
basically hated everyone.
And then now,
now you can't shut her up.
yeah, you'll go down the thing. She's like, hey, you're pretty. I'm like, okay.
And then she'll just start.
Okay.
She's like
Then
that.
no, then she starts talking. She's like, hey, did you know I have a dog?
Yeah.
Like,
She's like that checker I was telling y'all about that just started talking about space, and I was like,
That's
great.
That's our.
Oh, my
Space
goodness.
facts.
Space facts with the Dollar Tree man.
Nora will just be like trying to do splits in the hall. Can you do this? Like in an aisle.
We should
you
do
do a
like
cartwheel?
a TikTok where we just act like our children in public. I'm just gonna do a cartwheel with a whole boot on my leg. Hey mom, watch this. Can I do a cartwheel with my boot on? Yesterday Nora was doing that. She went up to Costco with me, and Nora's like, "Can I do a cartwheel?" And she was like, "I'd rather you didn't. You're in a cast and a boot." And then she was like trying to run and like hop on one leg, and Stacy's like, "Please don't stomp your boot leg." Like crazy.
Yeah, she's so done with that cast already.
She asked me, she was like, "Can you cut this off of me?" And I was like, "No, you need it." Like,
She had the pizza.
let me just pull.
I had the kids eat pizza. Like they made their own little pizza, and she's like looking at it. I'm like, don't even think about it. I know what you're thinking. She's like, what if I just like did this? I'm like, no.
How long has she
Do
had
you
it
know how
on?
much that gas was? For 2 more weeks actually. It's not that bad. It's
Not as long as they said she was going to have
Yeah.
to.
That's good.
Oh, really?
it was
That's
a
really
minor
good.
break, but it was enough.
It's a Salter-Harris level 1 fracture.
Oh.
Apparently it's something with the growth plate.
Yeah, so that's the reason she's in
Ooh.
a yeah.
So she definitely needs that cast.
So that day you left my
That's
house.
like from her foot all the way up to her knee.
What?
Oh my gosh.
Like I didn't...
The fracture?
No,
No.
the cast.
The cast.
Oh, I'm
Kids like, that sounds bad.
I was like,
That's on
that ain't no fracture.
No, the cast is that big.
Like,
she
got
had a
her
problem.
legs off.
It was so surreal that like we
Snapped.
didn't expect her to get anything like
No,
that. And
we're sitting
Man.
she
there.
comes back with that massive cast. I'm like, what in the world?
We're at the doctor's office, and
We
the
don't even know
lady,
what she did.
and Nora and I were talking. We were laughing. I was like, I'm sure they'll just, if anything, they'll give you a boot or a brace or something. And she's like, well, we're gonna put her in a cast for 6 weeks. And Nora and I looked at each other like, what?
Well, that's what I was going to tell you
extreme.
is like that day, because y'all left my house that day. I think your appointment was that day or the next day.
Okay.
And Hazel, you know her, she's just so dramatic. And she's like sitting in the floor playing with her Legos, and she was like, "Oh, I hope Nora doesn't have to get a boot." And I was like, "She's gonna be fine." She'll like,
fine.
she's not gonna get a boot. She'll be fine. And then the next day or whenever you sent me that picture, I was like, "Oh, Hazel, look!" And I showed her, and she was like, "No, is she okay?" I was like, "She's fine. She just got a cast. It'll be
So
okay."
what happened?
They
We don't know. So, okay, about 3-4
Probably
weeks
jumped
ago.
off of something too
Yeah,
high.
I mean, she's
gotcha.
on that bar all the time,
Yeah.
and she's, always doing some kind of trick. Well, one day she came downstairs and she was like, my foot hurts. And so I'm like, okay, maybe you hit it on your bed or something. I'm like, let's just give it time and see how you feel. I ended up then getting her a brace from Walmart just to kind
Yeah.
of appease her, because I'm like, okay, well, maybe... But I know how I was as a kid. I'm like, I just wanted a brace on my arm, Like, I was that kid that was like, oh, look at my sprained hand, And Nora is kind of like that sometimes. So I'm like, well, maybe this is, Anyways, but she kept telling me her foot hurts. So I'm like, we got to do something. So we took her, and sure enough.
Nora's
felt
so
really bad.
competitive. It's funny about her. It's like, am I the only person in our family that's ever had a cast?
Oh, yes. So,
She's
anyways, we don't know. She probably just fell, hurt it, and then kept hurting it because she was going about life
Yeah.
normal. And then I did notice, like, when she was playing outside, like at our school running around, she would stop. And she'd be like, ugh. Like, I could tell it was hurting her.
Man.
But,
We had a friend's son break his leg on one of our bounce houses.
oh no.
I am going to it makes my stomach turn every time I think about it, and they like to bring it up and laugh about it. Billy,
Like,
and
it was visibly
So what
broken?
happened
No, we
is
didn't
they
know it
had
was
this
broke.
big event at the
Okay.
church, and they hired us for our bounce houses. So we take them, and they had us all set up. Several church members set up in different areas, and I happened to be at one of our bounce houses, and Will and Amanda come up, and I'm just talking to her, and she's like, "Is he okay to get on here?" I was like, "Yeah, that's fine." And so he goes up and starts playing, and he slides down, but we didn't take his shoes off. And all the other kids had their shoes off, and I was just like, "It'll be fine."
I thought they
didn't
slid.
think-
I thought they slid together.
I didn't think anything of it. I don't know if he did or not.
Oh, okay.
But he went up to the top and he started sliding, and when he slid, his shoe caught, and it just kind of flipped his ankle under, and he just cried a little bit, and we didn't think anything of it. And she's like, he'll be fine. And he kept playing the rest of the day. And they said that night, when they would go to set him down, he would start crying because he was 2.
Yeah, I think so.
And so they took him in, and his little ankle was broken. And I was like, I am never going to, like, I still wake up at night about that. Sometimes I'm like, I broke Will's foot.
Yeah, I felt so
I
bad
felt
because, like,
awful.
Billy calls me and he's like, hey, man, so I'm just letting y'all know. And I was like, what do we owe you? You know, like, what do we got to do? And he was like, nothing, man. He's like, it was an accident. And, like, Billy's one of those guys, like, life happens. It's not a big deal. Like, he's like, life is life. It's not.
He just likes to pick at me about it now. He's like,
But
remember
it's
when you
hilarious.
broke Will's foot? And
Yeah,
I'm like,
he's
yes, I
like-
remember that, Billy.
Or Will will say something like, hey, Dad, remember when I broke my foot? Like, around Alyssa? He's just like, yeah, hey, Alyssa, remember when you broke his foot?
So now, anytime we've done bounce houses since then, I'm like, absolutely 0 shoes. No shoes ever. Don't even let him get close to the bounce house.
Yeah. It was
And
crazy.
then when they
It-
do go down together, it's like you could easily like
So that's
bang ahead.
that's the number one reason for broken bones in children is parents sliding with their
With
kids.
their kids.
Yeah, because all that weight's behind them.
We're just kind of getting out of the bounce house business, though.
Yeah, we're not in it no
That's
more.
too
We just
much.
own them. That's it.
They're rotting in our backyard right now.
Yeah.
There's literally one that's been
There's one sitting
unfolded.
there.
It's been rained
Yeah.
on.
So we're
It's
gonna
just
have
like-
to blow it up and disinfect it, power wash it, and everything. So
I mean, at this point,
50% off bounce house. This
exactly
weekend.
right.
we might. That blue one in the front yard. Gosh, we are so classy. There's one rolled up in our front yard that's been there since July of last year.
We put a tarp over it. We cleaned it, rolled it up.
No, we haven't even cleaned it yet. We were going to. That's why
No,
it's
it
there.
needed to be deep cleaned.
'Cause we were gonna-
I cleaned it
Yeah,
the last
that's
time it was
right.
used,
We
but I
did
was gonna
kind
deep
of-
clean it to sell it because
How do
we
you
were.
How do you do that? Though?
It's a lot of work, and you wait until the summer when it's boiling hot so you can actually use the water.
And that way it dries quickly.
Yeah.
But that one we
That's what I'm
cleaned
saying,
it.
they're
We cleaned it,
too
but
much
like
now.
when you go to sell them, you deep clean them and just make sure that all the stains are pulled off because there's stains that happen. Leaves stain them,
yeah.
and so
And
Isn't
those
it like
come off, though.
bacteria builds up and like
Yeah,
staph
so-
and all that stuff?
well, so on ours we got kind of lucky. Her uncle gave us this disinfectant. What is that stuff called?
Fun fact: this is like a little science nerd out session. He, like his company or whatever, created this product that goes in the water feeders for cattle.
Yeah.
So it's like safe for the cattle to ingest, but what it does is it stops any bacteria and algae and stuff from growing in the water troughs. And so you can like spray them with that and then fill the water and it doesn't affect the cattle at all. And so he was like, try them for your bounce houses.
So they-
he sent us some.
Yeah, he'll even spray them like in the big, dairy farms and stuff. They'll spray the floors and stuff with it every once in a while to kill bacteria because there's so many of them. There's so much
But it
species
kills
going
for
around.
like
Dude,
6 months.
It's like 3 to
a
6 months.
6 month
It continues
long-
killing. So
just
he
kills.
gave us this stuff to spray on the bounce houses. He's like, "Hey, just tell me how it works." And this stuff is not cheap. Like he just sent us.
Yeah, he gave us
He
some.
just gave us a big old gallon jug of it, and that stuff it kills everything. And I don't know, it's amazing. So
But I mean, like I said, that one's been out there rotting for 6 months now, so we're gonna have to
been-
overhaul
it's
that.
been covered with a billboard tarp. We're good. Probably our Mexican
We
lawyer.
got one of those climbers for Bennett, those dome climbers.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
We started it. It's still in the yard.
Is it really?
We never finished it. That was one of our
I could see the
spats.
rage in his eyes.
He was like,
Well,
I got a whole
multiple
backyard of
things
that.
happened while we were putting that together. First, I was trying to do it by myself, but there's like a pattern to it,
oh yeah, it's like,
and the
somehow you're supposed to
directions
hold-
are like as vague as possible.
yeah.
And so there's colors that you have to go by the colors, but then the directions are like black and white.
Yeah,
And what you would think would be yellow was like,
white.
And then
Yeah,
we had Bennett
it's so
helping, and
Kids helping is
he
the
lets
worst.
go one of those poles, and it's
oh,
like
and it smacked him in the
right in the head. It hurt so
gosh.
bad.
He was like, no.
Yeah, I think I kicked a bucket,
You
like
did.
literally, like
You
there
did.
was a Home Depot bucket I was sitting
He
on.
was like,
I kicked it.
and then Kendall was out there at that time. She was like, no, I'm
It
going
was a
inside.
disaster.
This is too chaotic. Yeah, so it's still out there.
So we have like a ring. The ground ring is started. And
Hours of fun.
It's like me and Christmas lights.
Kenneth
Not a
sucks the joy of Christmas right out if he's putting Christmas lights up.
We just pay people to do that. 'Cause
I
we're
mean,
not Christmas.
I ended up taking it over. I've done it myself the last couple of years, and then we asked for help
For
this
real?
year, and I think I'm just going to continue doing it myself, so I don't file for divorce every December.
It's not your thing.
No, it's not my thing.
I don't like doing it either. It's just for the kids, you know, like
I bought laser lights for that.
just stop them in the ground.
Yep.
It's working.
I used to do the lights on when I had a 1-story, and I could like do it from the roof.
Oh, I would never do a
Yeah.
2-story house.
But it was. I would like actually like just lay up there sometimes and just look at the clouds and stuff and just chill. It was kind of nice.
I miss laying on my roof when I was a kid. I'd climb up the like chimney part and like lay up there.
I always liked going on the roof, but my dad always was like, "Don't go on the roof." I guess because of the shingles, he was always telling me that I was going to mess up the shingles.
yeah.
Kenneth's on roofs all the time, and he does not think it's fun
I hate being on roofs
Do it
now.
for a living.
for a living. So
Yeah, it's not that great.
I don't think I've ever looked at a cloud while I'm on a roof in my life.
If I'm looking at a cloud, I'm doing the wrong thing, or I fell off. I'll tell you that much. I'm not spending that much time on a roof anymore. I get up there, get my job done, and get off.
I'm done.
Well, they're so steep now. I mean,
Dude,
I-
you're lying.
I walked
How's
up
they
one the
going?
other day, and I mean, I'm not on them as much as I used to be, but I was on one the other day, and I had to come down backwards on it because it was usually I walk straight up and I walk straight down, but this one was so steep I came down on all four because I was scared. I was like, God, I'm slipping,
God.
And
and I
you
had
got
my special
shoes.
Yeah, I was like, I
Oh.
had my special boots on, and I still was sliding down that thing.
What are those called?
Cougar paws?
Yeah, and they are
They
like
have
on the
spikes?
bottom. They're like
No, they're so.
grippy.
I mean, yeah, I guess it would.
So
be
when our
fine.
guys are putting the roofs on, they usually have like couch cushions. You know, just the foam. They have them sit there, and it also helps their knees so they don't wear their knees out. But it also grips on the shingles and stuff. And so pretty much these boots have soles that I can peel them off, but they have like super backing on it or whatever. But it has pretty much padding like that, foam padding. But I can pull them off. I also have a magnet one, so I can
For
walk
metal
on metal
roofs.
roofs
Oh, that's cool.
too without
They're
sliding.
like Spider-Man.
Yeah, those are pretty cool though. Because
You like walk up completely.
right,
That's our shameless plug, though, for Rocky Ridge Roofing. Call us for all your roofing needs.
all your roofing
Need a
needs.
roof?
Need a roof.
I know a
Gotcha.
guy.
Get a storm.
My whole life is a storm
You're not kidding.
It hailed last night.
in my heart.
But yeah,
Well, we tried to wrap this up about 30 minutes ago, and we kept going. So I guess we'll call it quits.
This will probably come out after Valentine's Day, but happy
don't know.
Valentine's Day.
I can.
Well, don't pressure
happy
yourself.
Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day,
Well,
babe.
shoot, we can just go right into Valentine's Day.
For
Just
real.
joking. It's 11:00 almost.
Is it really?
Dang, almost.
Yeah, it's 10:40.
We partied hard tonight.
You're not
Wow.
kidding.
Look at us in all of our evening podcasts.
Yeah.
Why don't you close this out in prayer?
I was like, Father God. Oh my God.
Prayer is good. We're not laughing.
Yeah,
at
we're not
prayer.
laughing at prayer. We're just. I was gonna say I would never. I would. Just not on the podcast. Oh my gosh. All right. Well, happy Valentine's Day, babe. You're my
Happy
favorite
Valentine's
Valentine.
He just smiles at me.
He's ready for bed. But again, thank you for joining us, and we will see you at the next get together.